this right now. So if I'm recording it, as I said, and if you would like not to be recorded, please let me know. Send me a message, and I will remove your, the part of your the video where you are in, so that you don't appear. Okay. So again, these are my contact details. And this is our textbook, right? So our textbook is available. It's actually available as an ebook, but you'll have to purchase the ebook if you want to. I highly recommend for this unit in particular that you have a copy of this book. A couple of ways you can do that. You can go to the library and borrow a copy of this book. And the reason why this textbook is so important for you is in your assignment, I'll be requiring that you do a lot of research. But the research is mostly 90% of the research will be from the textbook. By the way, can you see my, you can see the slides, but you can also see my face?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the textbook is from Waddell, Creed, Cummings, and Worley. It is available in the library. This is the 7th edition, but if you run out of the 7th edition, you also have previous editions that you can borrow. And the previous edition is perfectly okay. It's almost exactly the same. So you will not have a problem finding a copy of this in the library. And again, the reason why you really need a copy of this is because in your assignment, I'll be asking you some questions that can only be answered if you've got a textbook and that you can use this textbook as your reference. So the most important reference you will need when you're doing your assignment is actually the textbook. I really discourage students from using Google to try to do the research, and then you use this website, which is never as credible as the textbook we're using. Okay, so this is the basic slide. I'm sure you've seen something similar, but all the information you will need will be on Moodle. The things that you need to read, the lecture slides will all be there. And even our in-class activities, which we'll be doing via Zoom and also via Moodle, will be there for you to take. Okay, so it's important for you to check Moodle daily because I send messages through Moodle. And also, if you need to catch up, Moodle will be your best source. As you know, you've accessed the Zoom link for this class. The Zoom link is on Moodle as well. Your email as well, you should always access your email and check it every day. Does everybody have their emails on their phones?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so highly recommend that you get the Gmail app or the Google, I call it Gmail app, so that you can receive your emails into your phone. That way you can check it very easily every day. We will do online consultations as because of the situation. So if you need to contact me, send me a message and we can do a consultation time outside of class hours. So we'll use the same Zoom link for student consultations. That's why it's easy. So if I say, okay, if you want to meet with me after class, say our class is between 9 to 10:30, sorry, 9 to 11:30, and you want to meet me, say, at 1 p.m., then just click on the Zoom link at 1 p.m., assuming that we've both agreed to the time. And then I'll be there for your consultation, okay? Okay, so most important things to know what you need to be doing every class time. So at exactly 9 a.m., which is our class time hour on Mondays and Tuesdays, log into Moodle at the start of the class, okay? And then click on the Zoom link after you've got into the unit page. My suggestion is you open the lecture slides that are for that particular time slot, or sorry, for that particular session. So I will be labeling the sessions, session 1.1, 1.2, and then I'll also put the date on when we're going to be doing the sessions. So I'll give you instructions at the start of the class, what we're supposed to do. Sometimes there will be a video that we will watch together via Zoom, or sometimes I'll say to you, go and watch this video or read the slides on your own, and then just come back at say 10:30 after you've watched all the videos. Starting week 2, there will be graded online activities almost every session. So it's not that many marks, it's just maybe 2 marks for every activity. But these activities are really important because if you do them, it will prepare you for your final assessment, which is the assignment. If you're not engaged and you're pretending to be listening, but you're really sleeping, number one, you'll do poorly in the online activities. But the other thing is you're not going to be prepared for the subsequent assessments. So our midterm exam, for example, to prepare for your midterm, it will basically be very similar questions to the online activities. After each session, your lecturer will tell you what materials to study from Moodle and to prepare for the next session. Session dates are clearly marked on Moodle. Okay, so that's the Zoom link. I don't need to tell you that, because if you're in this class right now, that means you found the Zoom session. But I guess this is more important. I'm recording this for those that have missed this session. Okay, very briefly, these are the learning outcomes of this unit. So hopefully at the end of the term, when you finish the unit and you've done all the assessments, you would have been able to learn the following things. So number one, analyze the challenges facing organizations to effectively achieve business objectives in the current global change paradigm. So there's a lot of mumbo jumbo in this learning outcome. That's why I put in bold the most important phrase in this outcome, which is to analyze the challenges facing organizations. So in other words, I'm going to be training you on how to detect and how to identify problems, okay? And then also, of course, knowing what the problem is, finding out what is the root cause of these problems, and then addressing these by recommending solutions. Secondly, critically evaluate the relevance of various models of organizational change. So in other words, you're going to be learning about the frameworks on how you can implement change in an organization. So most organizations who are trying to solve their issues, solving problems in their company, would need to implement and create some change into the company, because they have to change the way they're working in order to address these problems. So that's in a nutshell what this unit is all about, is learning how to implement change. Secondly is design change management strategies that address key management issues. For example, when people don't want to change, those who are resisting change. And then finally, apply and communicate the key steps associated with this change management process and implementation strategies. So when I say apply, you're actually designing an implementation plan based on the strategies that you've earlier identified. And this will be, of course, assessed via an assignment, a final assignment. This final assignment will require a presentation as well, as you can see in the next slide. These are our assessments. We've got a week 2 online quiz, which is 3 weeks from now, I believe. The exact date, I'll have to change this. This is probably incorrect. This is still in April, so I'll have to change the date to the new date. To be exact, that will be the end of the day on 21st of June. That is the date of our week 2 quiz. What else? As I said earlier, we've got graded online quizzes. There are about 9 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And you can take them in class, and I'll show them to you. So usually what I do is first we have a meeting. First we meet at 9 a.m. I'll ask you some questions and you answer. Maybe you can ask me some questions. I can try to answer them before we do the quiz. And the quiz will be held at the same time. So don't do the quiz until I tell you that you can take it. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 activities. I believe 7 of the activities will be 2 marks each. So that's 14% total. And then the 8th and the 9th will be 3 marks each, I believe. Okay, so let me just make sure. No, it's still 2%. So anyway, it's mostly 2%, except the final activities, which will be slightly higher. Okay, total of all these activities will be 20%. Let me go back to what I was doing. Yeah, so total of that will be 20%. There will be a midterm test. This is going to be in week 4. So the exact date of the midterm will be 30th of June. So the 30th of June, we'll have a midterm. So the midterm will be a closed book, closed notes. We'll be doing it via Zoom. And there will be some questions. Actually, the midterm will be like part of the first part of the report, the report that you're preparing. So I'll be asking you questions about your report, just making sure that you have began preparations for your final assignment. So it'll be very simple questions. For example, what's the problem of the case study that you are taking? And that will be tested in the midterm. It'll be a 1-hour test. Yeah, so basically it will be held in class as well. So in your midterm test, highly recommended that you have a laptop or a computer, a desktop computer. If you don't, and you're using your phone, it'll be quite difficult for you to do the midterm. So I highly recommend that you get yourself a laptop. If you don't have a laptop and or a desktop, then you can also go to school. You can go to CIC in Lonsdale Street, and you can take the midterm from there. Does everybody have a laptop?
Yes.
Okay, so no problem here, right? Swetha, are you using a laptop?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, good. So no problems there. The oral presentation will be held in week 7, actually, in week 7. And the oral presentation will be about your final assignment. So what happens during week 7, I'm just open that here. That is the week starting the 20th of July. Yeah, 20th of July. you will be presenting the more important parts of your assignment. And then I will be giving you some comments, and hopefully you can use my comments to improve your assignment. So your assignment is due on the 26th of July. You have basically 1 week to fix your assignment based on the comments that I've given you. Okay? And finally, as I said, your written group assignment will be due at the end of that week, which is the 26th of July. That will be the deadline for the final assessment. Any questions? All pretty straightforward. Because you are third-year students, you've done this before, I'm sure. So nothing alien to you. My style might be a bit different from many of the lecturers. And usually my style is that the oral presentation, I'll be giving you a lot of comments there, and hopefully that you can use that to improve your assignment. Okay, so similar to what I was telling you about what you need to have when you're learning online, what you need to be able to do. First of all, when you're learning, you need to have good contact with your peers, your classmates, because we're doing group assignments. We'll be learning together. It makes a big difference if you are in contact with your group mates and learning with them. You're asking them questions, and your classmates are actually helping you learn from the unit. My role as an instructor is more like to facilitate this whole process, but the learning will come from you. Okay, you are going to be responsible for that. I will make sure the content is available via Moodle, and of course, you need to have access to the technology. So a good laptop with a webcam. Look, I'm not. It's okay with me if you're, let's say, you're on the train and you decide you want to listen to the lecture. You can use your phone while you're on the train to attend the lecture. Perfectly okay. I don't mind that, except for the midterm and for the oral presentation. Okay. During the midterm and the oral presentation, you should be in a proper place to do that. You cannot do an oral presentation from a work site, okay, unless you have a room where you can actually do the oral presentation. Having said that, I'm not saying that I won't let you present, but what I'm saying is your marks will be affected. If you're trying to do the oral presentation on Zoom and you're using your phone, you know, it's shaking and all of that, it's not very professional. So I would really discourage students from using their phone during the midterm and during the oral presentation. Okay, you need to have access to a computer, whether that's in the college or at home in a laptop, with a laptop. Okay, to be successful, you need to manage your time. You need to be in class at exactly 9 a.m. or the time that the class starts. And you have to try to plan for it, because, by the way, the in-class activities, the quizzes that we'll be doing, are usually based on the content that you've done previously. So, for example, we don't have a quiz today, but in week 2, I'm considering this as week 0, by the way. So next week will be week 1, and 2 weeks from now will be week 2. So in week 2, you're going to do a quiz. 2.1 will have a quiz, and that is based on 1.2 session, so the previous day. So time management means that you need to be prepared for that quiz. You should have done a little bit of studying beforehand. I'm not expecting a lot of studying in this unit, but again, you need to do some homework before to prepare yourself for each class. I know most of you are self-motivated. In other words, you know, you get yourself, find out what makes you, um, uh, you know, enthusiastic to come to class, and focus on that. Okay, focus on what you're doing this unit for. Remember that you're trying to graduate, you're trying to gain a qualification, and if the reason you're doing that is because you are focusing on the future. You're focusing on a better career. So that is one way to get yourself motivated. We'll need basic technical skills here, using a laptop and all of that, but really not really that complicated. And I will help you. I'll give you some tips on how to do a good presentation. So I don't expect that that will be an issue. The other thing that's important is you need to have a good environment. Make sure you've got a room where you can study, a room where you can attend the class, someplace where people can't bother you, hopefully. And that's kind of difficult for many of you as students. I understand that. So if you can't have a good private place, my suggestion is try to find in CIC, you can go there. And in CIC, there's hardly anyone there. So you shouldn't be worried about COVID-19 because, again, very few people go there. And as long as you practice good hygiene and you wash your hands, it should be a safe place to go to do your studies or to attend the class. Okay, that is it. You have any questions?
None so far.
None so far. Okay. Okay, just giving you a very quick guide through the unit shell. I'm probably going to share my screen again. All right, so I apologize. I have not changed the dates yet. By today, I will change this. So this will be session 1 and 2, the official, official session 1, week 1 and 2 will be next week. So if today is the 1st, next week, session 1 will be actually, it's a holiday on the 8th of June. So our first session will be on the 9th of June. My suggestion is, because we're going to have a holiday on the 8th, is please review the materials, maybe even tomorrow. You've attended the session today, and today was all about just an introduction. Tomorrow, my plan is I'm going to actually hold the first session because of, again, week 1 is a holiday. So tomorrow I will hold the session, right? So if you are able to attend that session, well and good, all right? So because on that session, I'm going to take up this one, video 1.1. Okay, and then the slides are found there. In case you do miss a session, for example, you know, maybe you were sick, you couldn't attend class, note that I always have a mini lecture. So mini lecture on leadership and change, for example, this is a good place for you to start, you know, to catch up. If you miss the session, you can also go back and watch these videos. I usually have instructions found here. So for example, the first session 1.1, if you click on that, you'll see the schedule for that day, okay, and the lesson plan. These are the discussion questions we'll be talking about in that particular session, okay, and also what videos to watch are found there as well. Okay, so that is under the instructions for students. So tomorrow, because we have a holiday next week, we're going to be starting class tomorrow. No quiz. Don't worry about it. So we won't have any graded quiz yet. So the first quiz will be 2.1, and that's going to be, let me see now, 2.1, 15th of June. That's going to be our first quiz. Okay. So any questions, guys, before we end the session for today? Because it's just an introduction anyway. By the way, if you need to contact me, you can click on this link and you'll see my mobile number would be there. So you can actually send me a message by SMS, and I usually will pick that up. Please, if you need to call me up, I hope it's a very urgent matter. For example, you might have some problems uploading your assignment, or you can't access the Zoom link. There's something wrong with your Zoom, whatever it is, you can send me a message and I'll be able to answer that message. The other, probably the last thing I will take up is we have an announcement forum. So if you click on the announcement forum, this is where I will usually give reminders. And if I send something here, that usually will go to your emails as well. But if in case you have not been reading your emails, you can actually go back to this this forum to check. I'll give you last term. Hopefully I can go back to last terms just to show you what it looks like. So it will look something like this. And if you click on that, you can see the messages I've sent. All right, so usually I will send a welcome message. So you can read all of that. The discussion forum is also a good place for you to find your group mates. So for example, you're trying to form a group, then you can use this and to reach out and ask people if they want to form a group with you. But my number one tip is try to make sure the people you're teaming up with have very similar goals as yourself. So if you want an HD, you want a good grade to come out, make sure you are selecting students who also have the same goal. Okay, some students, they don't care as long as they can pass. Then it's probably not a good idea to be teaming up with these kinds of students.
David, is it a group of 2 or 3?
I'll require a minimum of 3.
Uh,
Okay, 3 to 4, no more than 4.
or,
Okay, so right here is a perfect, what do you call this, setup. You can reach out to each other. In fact, if you want to send messages to each other, that should be, you could do that. By going to participants on Moodle. Now this is from last term, so your names are not going to be here, but you can basically contact people from the participant list and send them a message. So for example, Angela here, here's her email. You can send her an email, or you can send her a message via Moodle as well. Okay, you can write a message here. Clear, guys?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we'll end the session for today unless you have any questions. Again, number one tip, tomorrow I'm going to have a class. The class, I'll begin the week 1 session because again, we're going to have a holiday next week. So I'd rather that we take that class right away. Okay. All right. So that's it. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Bye-bye.
Thanks, David.